What's up, guys? It is JD from Leterrip Adventure. Welcome back to the channel.
Let's go!
So, it is fall here in Wisconsin. As you can see, beautiful colors right now. Sorry about the blower in the background. Everybody's doing fall cleanup right now because our city cleans up the leaves here. They will be through this next week, so I apologize for that in advance. But what are we doing today? As you can see, we are not out riding. We are back at the house. We are actually doing the review on the Scramblers. Now, I missed the 1,000 mile review. Currently, that machine is sitting at about just shy of 1,500. This one's sitting at about 500. So I figured we would do a review, the 1,000/1,500 mile review. Now, I went back and looked at some of my videos. If you go back, I did a video in regards to, is the Scrambler worth $18,000? Then I also did a 500 mile review, and this is kind of the update on how I feel in regards to whether or not the Scrambler is worth the money and what the review is and my current thoughts. So, as you can see, one of the machines is sitting up on a jack and jack stands. Reason for that being, I want to go through and actually check to see if there's any slop or play in the ball joints, any of the A-arm bushings, any of that stuff, because I'm going to throw up a little quick montage. It'll be like 20 seconds or so of what we have all put these Scramblers through. Check it out.
Double black diamond. We'll see how this scramble handles itself.
Now, as you can see, we have put these Scramblers through everything you can think of. We put them in the mud, we put them in the sand, we've jumped them, we've raced them, we put them on hard pack. We've done everything with these Scramblers, and they have taken everything we've thrown at them and then some. So that is going to lead me to the things I like about the Scramblers. First off, suspension, next level. There is nothing in the industry, whether it be a sport quad or a utility quad, such as like a Sportsman or even a Renegade or anything in that regards, that is comparable to the Scrambler suspension. Now that brings me to the fact of what have I adjusted. I have adjusted absolutely nothing on this machine sitting behind me. I have not done my dampen, I've not done my preload, I've not done any of that to this suspension, and it just takes it, eats it up, and like makes most things extremely easy. Now, I took a tape measure. To not only this one back here, which currently is sitting at just shy of 1,500 miles, and I took it to the new machine, which only has 500 miles on it, and measured ride height. I thought I was actually getting some spring fade, and that is not indeed the case. I'm sitting at about close to 14.5 inches at ride height, which is pretty close to stock. I thought I was getting spring fade, checked it out, rode them around, made sure the suspension was settled, and they are indeed, they're holding up pretty well, because anybody knows that in the side-by-side game, especially Polaris, spring fade is a deal, and I do not feel I'm getting that with these with the Scramblers, which is absolutely awesome. So I do like the suspension on these things. I do like the width. The width of these machines makes them extremely capable when it comes to rock crawling, when it comes to jumping, when it comes to anything like that. And, you know, that's awesome. Now, the downside of that aspect is they are heavy. They are a very heavy machine for what they are. They're close to 1,000 pounds. By the time you put yourself and the gear you're hauling, you're probably close to 1,000 pounds. And that does limit the drivability because they are so freaking heavy. Now, the wife aspect of things, she's scared to death of these things. She admits right out that it is too big of a machine for her to be able to handle and enjoy properly. Kind of a bummer. Does she still enjoy riding it? She does, but I think if she had a little smaller machine, she would get out and ride and enjoy the trails a little more versus having something this freaking big. So, things I like. Power aspect of things, great. Suspension aspect of things, awesome. Width and stance and overall size of the machines, awesome. Now, let's go into the things that I don't like. First off, The throttle response from takeoff on almost 1,000 cc parallel twin underneath your seat, I feel is lagging or lack thereof. It's a very linear power on the Scramblers, and it hasn't changed at all with the machine. It has 1,500 miles on it, and it's just the throttle response from the original hit isn't what I feel it should particularly be. I don't like that. Which brings me to my rig, which only has 500 miles on it. We have done some things to this rig to improve the throttle response as far as original takeoff, the original hit, the playfulness and the snappiness on the throttle, and it has livened this machine up considerably. What have we all done? Now, we had a couple sponsors reach out to us not too long ago, and they said, hey, we'd like you to try our product. One of them being Routa Powerline, which there's a video for that install, and then there is the RPM high-full slip-on exhaust. That we also have a video with the install as well, and we do have some discount codes for those guys. leterrip saves you guys 5% if you're interested. And I'm telling you, as far as the drivability and the overall playfulness, it sounds awesome, and it is, the driver experience is greatly enhanced when you get the power to the ground, throw an exhaust on here, night and day difference. Now, we threw the clutch kit, the large air intake, the slip-on exhaust, and then we also went through RVS and got their 12 horsepower tune. I bought a license for my PV3, updated the PV3, threw the license on there, contacted those guys, sent my stock file over, and threw the 12 horsepower tune on there. So night and day difference between one machine and the other machine. Now, that also brings me to which one do I think is going to last longer? And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I think the one with 1,500 miles is going to last longer than the one that only has 500 miles. Reason for that being, you ask, is because I've actually been in the top end of this machine already, because when you fire up the old machine versus the new machine, that one is quiet, the valve train is quiet, there's no chattering, there's no nickety. Unfortunately, with this one, that is not the case. The top end of this machine is considerably noisier than it is with the old one. Pretty much the same break-in procedure, took it easy for a while, driving pretty much the same, and I do not think this engine is going to last as long as the old one. So adjusted the valves, did some tuning, did some bolt-on mods, and I feel this machine acts, drives, and is much more enjoyable to drive. But I shouldn't have to spend, you know, $1,000 some dollars, or have customers reach out and sponsors reach out to throw a bunch of parts on that to make it that drivable when you have a $18,000 machine. Now, does that take away from any of the driving experience? If you don't do those things, it does not. It is still an extremely fun machine to drive. Now that I've kind of gone over all that, what I like, what I don't like, I'm going to show you some of the things that I've noticed that we're seeing for wear and tear, where the pivot points are, ball joints, A-arm bushings, all those things. You know, 1,500 hard miles, is it starting to show signs of wear and tear? So let's check it out. As you can see, it's up on the jack, it's up on blocks, it's up on jack stands in the rear, and I went through and did the entire wiggle test on the back end of the rig. Checked all my rear suspension components, all my pivot points. Everything on the rear of the machine is 100% tight. I have no play, I have no noises, I have no rattles, I have absolutely nothing going on with the rear of the machine. It is still tight, it is still 100%. And it has 1,500 miles. If I were to get on this machine compared to that machine, I would not be able to tell the difference in a 500 or a 1,500 mile machine. So I feel that is a statement in regards to how well these things hold up. You know, kind of justifies the price tag that comes along with these machines. Now, all the lights, all the light bars, the winch, everything on both of these machines still work great. Have not had any failures, have not had any check engine lights, have not had any problems with this machine. Only wear and tear, only thing that I can find as far as play and stuff is concerned is I'll show you guys here in a second. Now, I know there is issues with the steering stem bushing. Actually, I'll take this cover off right here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. there is an upgrade for this steering stem right there. That nylon or plastic bushing starts to wear out, and you start getting play in the steering assembly. So I'm going to put this cover back on, and I'll show you guys. As of right now, it is solid. It is tight. I don't have any, whoa, babe, food. You heard her, guys, food. So I'm gonna go in here and get some food here in a second, but let's finish this up. She's scared the crap right out of me. Anyway, steering stem, all that stuff is solid. Everything is tight. Don't have any issues with that yet. I know there is an upgrade. I'm assuming in the future I may have to replace it. As of right now, it's 100. Steering is still nice and tight. You can see, turn steering wheel, turn tire, it is good. I did the wiggle test on everything in the front end. I got my leg pinned against the bottom here, and I'm trying to move something, trying to wiggle something, and it is 100% solid. I have no play in any of my A-arm bushings. I have no play in, you know, suspension pivot points, anything like that. It is holding up extremely well. Now, I did find one problem with this thing that I know is a failure point on these scramblers, and I am starting to see wear and tear on the machine with 1,500 miles. Now, do I need to necessarily replace it? No. Do I see it being a failure point in the future? Sure do, and I'll show you what that is. Now, inside, you've got this cantankerous drag link. You can see that, right? I'll try to point at it. That right there is your drag link. So I am going to try to position this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Watch in that furthest joint way back in there where it attaches to the other tie rod assembly. Now I am going to move the tire, and you can see that play in that bushing right now, or in that pivot point in that drag link. So I know J Parts and a couple other companies, they make a straight link that crosses between those two tie rod assembly ends. So I think I may end up updating that, because is it affecting the drivability of the machine? Can you notice it in the handlebars? I can't notice it or anything like that. So is it a big deal? As of right now, I don't think so. So only other thing I can say that I wish it had is, I noticed this on the filming aspect of things, I know there's some upgrades, is these freaking headlights. Those halogen headlights and stuff like that, they look dingy, they look, you know, they just, I don't know, $18,000, you can't throw me on an LED freaking headlight. Now I know that's being picky, I know that's crazy, but it's just one of those things, you know, it's a lot of money for a quad. It should be like 100, 100, 100. So I think we're going to upgrade that, just nothing more than just, we don't drive a lot at night, but I think for the filming side of things, it would look really nice with LED headlights coming through the, bombing through the woods, coming up on the handheld camera and stuff like that. I think it would be great. So what have I done to this machine as far as maintenance? Normal maintenance, keeping the clutches clean, keeping the air filter clean, doing the fluid changes per the manual. Oil is every 500. Gear cases, transmission, everything else is every 1,000 miles. And speaking of wear and tear, tires. These are the OEM tires that have been in this machine. They've got about 1,500 miles on them. Some road miles, a lot of hard miles, a lot of rock crawling. And you can see there's still life in them. I did lose the cupping on the normal parts of the tread, so I noticed it is starting to affect as far as the traction aspect of things a little bit. So we will replace them eventually. Not sure what we're going with. Probably going to step it up to either a 28 or possibly a 30, depending on which direction we go. Might be looking at a mud rig, not 100% sure. So since the wife is kind of scared to death of this thing, one of these may actually go down the road. Not 100% sure yet. Love the scramblers, love giving the opportunity for buddies to hop on these things and ride them. So back to the maintenance. Normal maintenance, air filter, clutches, fluid changes when Polaris recommends. Other than that, keep it clean, wash it after every ride. Don't beat the living snot out of it, because I realize I could probably outdrive the capabilities of this machine, but I want it to last, especially at 18 grand. Does not burn oil, no issues with anything. I've not had any fault codes. Nothing has gone wrong with this machine since I've owned it. Either one of these machines since I have owned that, knock on wood. So that's gonna it's gonna end it for this one, guys. Like I said, for not adjusting, not having to mess with, not having to do anything to a quad, go out, ride it, and enjoy it. Scrambler's great. Worth every penny. Couple things I wish they could. Oh, that brings me to, yes, one last thing, the clutches. I did the clutch kit, Routa Powerline on the other one, much smoother engagement. This one was fine, but I did notice on the towers of the primary clutch, or on the secondary clutch, your rollers, they're square rollers, and it is starting to wear a groove in the clutch from the square pucks in the secondary clutch. Now there is another upgrade for that as well, which I think both of these machines are going to get it. They have a round style puck, which everybody knows, these square style pucks on the razors and anything with that, you should swap them out for the round ones. Pretty simple upgrade. It doesn't cut grooves in the aluminum of your clutch, because I noticed the original engagement is getting a little harsh, because I think it's getting stuck in that groove and those pucks are getting wore, and I don't like that. So as a whole, review, great, love it, awesome. Sticking a little bit of money into it, clutching, tune, and exhaust, livens the machine up. Do you necessarily need to do what I've done to the other one to enjoy the Scrambler? You do not. They are a phenomenal machine, worth every penny. If you've ever debated on getting one, I definitely recommend it. They are worth every dollar, because it creates smiles for days. These machines are by far one of the funnest rigs I've ever owned in the 20 years of riding sport quads, snowmobiles, dirt bikes, ATVs, side-by-sides. I would not hesitate again to go pick up another one. Now I know they discontinued them for this next year, and rumor has it there's some possible chassis changes and some other things, because I guess they've been running these platforms now as far as the main chassis is concerned for a while. So I'm really excited to see if they have some updates, what they're going to change, or what they're going to reveal here, possibly mid-year or early next year, yet to be determined. So that being said, guys, don't forget we do have some sponsors that can save you guys some money. Supporters that support us, if you get some merch from those guys, we do have RPM, we've got Bikeman Performance, we do got LOYO Lights, GLife Utv, and then Routa Powerline. Unfortunately, I don't have a discount code for those guys, but we do support them because they do support us. They do have some great product for the Scrambler. So if you want, use leterrip on any one of those guys, saves you guys 5%, which when you start talking the Bikeman stuff or their RPM stuff, that's quite a bit of money you guys can save. Like I said, once again, leterrip saves you guys 5%. But if you haven't already, smash that subscribe, hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell if you want to see content when we post. And that officially is the 1,000/1,500 mile review of the Polaris Scrambler. And like we always say, on to the next adventure.